Hello. Good morning. We're live. How you doing, everybody? Hope you had a great weekend. Thanks for coming to the live stream here. If you're in the chat, definitely say hi. I would love to chat you up. Oh, let's see who's here. We got Doug Castle on here. Hope you had a good weekend too, Doug. Joseph's here. Good morning, Leatherheads. Uncle Jimmy. Hey, Uncle Jimmy. Good to see you. Mikarta. Howdy. Uncle Jimmy says, does Ashland still offer the double-sided shell with watch straps upon request? Yeah, we can do that. We call them 2-layer straps. But yeah, essentially it's just two pieces of leather put together. Oh, you got a new watch. All right, cool. Good morning, Jaron. Joseph says, any news on when we could get our hands on the new Blue Bison leather? We're going to start making, I haven't even, we just opened it for the first time last week. So I think we're going to try to make, I told my brother Matt that we should try to make one of each style to see how it translates to the wallets. Because it's not as simple as just like cut it and put it in a wallet. Sometimes the temper of the leather might not be appropriate for some applications. So especially like the thickness, like it would be great to do a Johnny the Fox that's all bison, but I don't think we're going to be able to get it thin enough for the interior. But we're going to try some stuff, hopefully in a few weeks. I don't know. Maybe we'll try to include some. If it turns out nice, it'd be nice to include it on a private stock thing. SKG's here. Jeff's here. Good morning, guys. Lacey, good morning. New friendly faces. Sherman's here. Good to see you, Sherman. Oh, glad. Thank you for coming to say hi. I know it's like a weird time of day. John says, excited for 1940s calf, Fat Herbie. Oh, nice. Man, that 1940s calf, it's sort of a bittersweet thing because it's so nice, but they can't make it again. And I've said this story before. They've held on to this leather for 80 years. And for all those years, and they hadn't done it when I was working there, but for a bunch of decades, they were trying to reproduce it. It was actually a leather tannage called timber tanned. Something happened where they lost the formulation, maybe during the World War II, and couldn't reproduce it. So they had all that leather sitting there that was actually leather that was returned to the tannery because the customer didn't want it. And they sat on it for all the years trying to match to it and reproduce it and could never do it. So now they just have a small table of these calf skins, and we've been plucking from there every so often. And Skip's kind enough to let us use it. They're not completely cuttable everywhere, so it takes a little bit of additional care to cut these old skins. Because they've been sitting around for a while. We did nourish the leather again with a bit of a conditioner. The tannery did that, I should say, to sort of lubricate all the fibers in there, because as it sits there, there's a potential for it to crack. And it's also very thin. But, it's when it's nice here and we cut the good spots, which we do, it's really nice. So I'm very excited for you to get your new Herbie. Ordered a Bison key vault in the lighter. From my brother, Matt? Wow, he must have hooked you up, Alex, because I told him not to sell anything out of it until we know how it works. Oh, good morning, Steven and Alex. Good to see you. Beefettes here. Ash Hats. Good morning, Ash Hats. Alex is here. Awesome, man. And Christian. Good to see you, Christian. Phil, do we know your favorite wallet size of Fat Herbie? If you couldn't wear the Herbie, what would your next choice be? It's funny. That's a really good question, because I could kind of see myself with any of the other ones. First thing that comes to mind right now is the Capone, because I really enjoyed those exterior slots. So I'd probably lean towards that. But honestly, like, Herbie's like a far first place for me. And then like most everything else is second place. I do sometimes have to carry a bit of cash, so I like to have something that can hold cash, which for me, I don't love folding cash in half. So like a Bugs Moran is not necessarily the best for me. Also, I have a lot, 16, 20 cards. I think it's probably closer to 16 that I don't know. I just find it hard to dig through that many cards stacked on top of each other for something like a Bugs Moran, or even like the Machine Gun Jack that we've been putting up some private stock of. I'd say tied for second would be that Capone as well as the Fox. And now we're trying to trying to do what we've been calling the Capone Fox. I would really like to try that one, and I haven't worn it yet. But a lot of people have picked up that Capone Fox, quote unquote, Capone Fox. I think we had a different name. Somebody in the chat came up with the name Rocco the Razor, which I thoughtfully wrote down to remind myself because I like that name. Rocco the Razor for the Capone Fox. Could be the next one. What shirt are you sporting? It resembles an RRL. This is we interviewed these guys on the Full Grain podcast. I'm going to plug my own podcast. Check out the Full Grain podcast. But this is a brand called 316. And in the past, I had worn their denim pants. I actually have a sweatshirt from them here too, which I won't dare pull out to show a hooded sweatshirt on camera. But 316 is really, really cool. We chatted with the founders on the Full Grain podcast, and they're really interesting guys. Very into denim. So I picked this up from a local store here in Chicago called Mild Blend, and they also sell some of my stuff, some of our leather goods there. But this jacket, it's kind of like, I think they call it a shirt. A lot of people see me wear it and say I like your jacket, but I think it's marketed as a shirt. But it's a little bit heavy for a shirt. And the reason I'm wearing this as well as a sweatshirt, which I won't dare show on camera, it snowed here in Chicago. We had an 84-degree weather here 3 days ago, and today it's 30. So that's how crazy it is in Chicago. All right, let's I'm gonna flip it over. We're gonna look at some of the stuff on the table behind me. That's everything right here. This little box. So there's so much. I just can't believe the amount of support you guys are giving us. I really appreciate everybody that has picked up something from our brand here, and it really seems like we're very busy. So I don't know if that's because the products we're making are nice, or if people are spreading the word for us, or if I'm doing these live streams and YouTube videos, but something's happened here where we've like really sort of taken off. So what you're seeing on the table here, I only pulled like one of each style, but there's probably like 10 times that much stuff that we got to ship out today. So I got to get moving here. We got a lot to do, as well as talk about some of the Scotch grain stuff. So everything we're about to look at is stuff that has been ordered over the last 24 hours. And I just think it's fun to show you the stuff you get before you get it. And we can talk about it and look at it and like gives everybody a chance to see some of the stuff that's going out. So speaking of stuff going out, I just want to start really quickly with the Scotch grain stuff that I sneakily added to our website last Friday. And it seems like people are really into this. And this is another one that's like, we just can't really do it again because this is leather that I bought roughly like a year or two into starting Ashland. We were partnering with a shop here in the city called Haberdash, and they wanted to do some wallets with us. And actually their buyer is now the owner of Notre in Chicago, but his name's MJ. And MJ selected these 4 colors in this texture to offer to their customers at Haberdash. And they sold a bunch of them, and then I bought extra just in case they needed more, because you can't just buy the leather and get it instantly. I wanted to make sure I could service this new customer. So I've been sitting on this leather for 10 years, and this is it. This is the end of it. And what's very interesting about the Chromexcel here, as it has sat, it's become more amazing. And when people have picked up one of these Scotch grain pieces, you'll immediately notice just how nice the leather is. It's super, super dense and has a really great feel. It's dense, but it also has like a little bit of flex to it. It's a really, really interesting thing that only I've seen from Horween's like veg tan stuff. It has like a nice body to it, but also is supple. So it's like a firm and soft at the same time kind of thing. Then we have those 4 colors going out. I pulled out 4 components to show you. We've got the tan Chromexcel here, which is like a little bit reddish orangey. We've got the navy, and navy Chromexcel here from back in the day is a little bit more of like a vibrant blue. It almost kind of looks, I'll pull mine out. It almost kind of looks like a darker version of this royal blue cypress. It's also turned out great. again, there's something about this leather that's really nice, and it's just it's kind of a shame I can't buy a bunch of warehouses and just like sit around and age leather for decades at a time. This one is I call it green, but this was called Loden Green Chromexcel from Horween. It's a really nice darker forest green, especially on the surface, and then you can see the pull-up color has like a little bit more yellow to it. It's like a little bit of a lighter green. It's a good green. And then the last one here, this is not Chromexcel, but this was some of the first Dublin leather that Horween ever made. So we're talking about a decade ago. I believe Horween started making Dublin around 2010. And it did not take off right away. In fact, they started with a product called Essex and then started experimenting with different finishes on top of the Essex. That's how Dublin came about. And then this particular piece of Dublin was embossed with the Scotch grain also. So this is some of the oldest Dublin ever, which obviously we can't do again. So some really cool pieces that people have picked up from the recent private stock that, again, I kind of snuck up. Our inclination for that last private stock drop was to have things that weren't Shell. We realized that a lot of people come to us for Shell, and we also realized that alienates a certain subset of individuals that don't have $300 to drop on a wall. It's a lot of money. So we also want to be able to share the different tannages and different leathers with a wider audience of people. So we actually have a couple here that are not Shell either. So this is our most popular leather in color. This is also Dublin, but this is the English tan shade on the Frank the Enforcer. We have a new color. This is that royal blue cypress I was talking about. I found this leather, and I'm going to talk it up again. Look at the difference. Hopefully it translates on the video here. I've scratched the crap out of this thing. In fact, you might even be able to see this new scratch. So take a look at this, and as we do these live streams, you'll see that scratch just goes away from me wearing it. I put this in my stroller to walk around with my kid and put my keys next to it and scratched it. But I found these sorts of scratches before, as I've worn it in other ways, like in a backpack and throw keys next to it. Those scratches just blend in naturally. So it's a super tough and super resilient leather that I'm really pleased with. And of course, it has that vibrant shade, which is very nice. So royal blue cypress is really great. I think we have to restock most everything in that. I also had this private stock up on the site. This is a nice Frank the Enforcer also. This is in my favorite shell color, the Amaretto Shell Cordovan. Take a look at that shell. It's like a perfect shell. And then we hand stitch this with a purple stitching, which somehow works great with that orangey tan shade of the Amaretto. Looks really, really nice. And of course, a waxed and burnished edge. This was one of our private stock items. I think we had a couple other private stocks that I snuck up. I'll show you this one here. Tumbled Color 8 Shell Cordovan baseball. And this has a blue stitching to it. I very sneakily snuck up this in addition to a couple other items and didn't really broadcast that we're doing it. I also am realizing that having the private stocks be certain like types of events also broadcast very loudly to, like, our newsletter has many tens of thousands of people on it. So it's a pretty tough challenge to get some of the private stocks sometimes. So I want to mix it up and sort of sneak them on there. So people that are just coming across the site, or people that are probably in the chat here that like to come to the website frequently, you can walk across. I got a tripwire across the room here. People that come to the site, I want you to be able to grab it before it's broadcasted very loudly to a wide world of people. So I snuck up a few things. This Color 8 Shell Cordovan on the baseball. Let me show you a couple other Shell Cordovan pieces so you can compare it to. Normally, Shell Cordovan is not tumbled, so we get this super flat and smooth look like we have on this 20 millimeter watch strap. We also have a 22 millimeter and an Apple Watch band. So we do a bunch of different sizes. So you can see what has happened as it has become tumbled is we've developed a little bit more of a texture in the leather, and it's revealed a little bit more of highs and lows in color. And it's also become a little bit more pale, where the normal Cordovan has like a little bit more life to it. The tumbled, the fibers in there have all opened up, and it's become like a little bit more velvety, almost like a suede sort of feel, because again, the tumbling actions opened up the fibers, but it's got this great look. I've noticed on the tumbled shells, they develop a great patina. Perhaps my suspicion is because those fibers have become opened. It's like it allows the patina to be more accepted into the leather. So we got the Shell baseball. There were a couple other baseballs we snuck up to. We'll skim back through these watch bands because we are selling a lot of watch bands now that they're back on the site. And I'll mention anybody watching here, if there's a watch band that you want that you don't see, we'll make it for you. Just send Matt an email. It's info@ashlandleather.com. Just say, I want a 22 millimeter Apple watch band, or excuse me, 22 millimeter Amaretto Shell Cordovan watch band. And we'll do that for you. So you'll see here, 22 millimeters is the lug width at the top. All of our straps have a 2 millimeter taper. So it's 22 millimeters at the lug, and then it's down to 20 on the buckle side, which is here. And so of course we have not put the hardware in here yet, but you can see the taper that happens there. And all the straps that we do have that 2 millimeter taper. So when we have a 20 millimeter strap like this, it is 18 millimeters at that buckle end. On the Apple Watches, there's only one size, which is pleasant for us because we don't have to stock all the different sizes. But the lug widths at the top of these are actually more like 24 millimeters. They fit onto the watch as such. And then we put a buckle on. The strap I'm wearing is not representative of what we normally do. It's like different hardware, as well as this is an irregular. It's got an extra stitch hole that you might be able to see right there. This is natural Chromexcel. I'm actually pretty happy with how this is feeling on my wrist. But the Apple Watch bands we can offer in 2 different colors of hardware. There's the new Apple Watch Ultra that pairs very nicely with the silver hardware that we do. So you can see we stock these without any hardware on it, which allows you to spec out the color hardware that you would like. And these also only fit the larger sizes of Apple Watches. So I think it's like the size would be a 45 or 43. We only fit the 45. It's the larger faces that our straps fit. Here's one in black Shell Cordovan. And all these straps are also unlined, which I think lends to a very comfortable strap, especially on the Cordovan and the Chromexcel. All the leather that we've chose for watch bands, we've purposely decided to use because we find them to be very comfortable being an unlined strap. But somebody in the chat was asking, I think it was Jimmy, was saying, hey, can you do a 2-layer strap? We can totally do a 2-layer strap. Some people like a thicker strap, especially if the case of your watch is a little chunkier. Those people tend to want more of a thick strap. So this leather we use here for the Apple Watch band, in our opinion, we found this thickness to be perfect. And this is roughly 6 ounces thick. It's the same leather that we actually use on the valet trays. We've also done some in the past in belt weight that I had worn myself. I felt like that was a little too much. But again, some people like super thick. So we can do 6 ounce. We can do a belt weight that's like 9-10 ounce. We could also take a leather that we use on like the Johnny the Fox exterior. This piece here is 4 ounces thick, so we could double that up and make an 8 ounce, which I think is sort of might be the sweet spot. 8 ounce might be just right, but I'm kind of digging like 6 ounce here. Since we pulled this out, let's take a look at some wallets. We've got Johnny the Fox here, English chain Dublin, incredible grain character and natural variance in the Dublin. I'll shift it around here so you can see the fine detail in the grain, and it's got all the bits of natural character. The reason that you're seeing that is because this leather has not been pigmented and heavily covered by finishes, so you get to see all the natural variance in the leather that I think makes it unique and special. We got another one here. Speaking of aniline, this is a black leather. It's the same leather tan. It just says Dublin, but look very closely. See all those very fine bits of texture? Hopefully you can see that there. That is the grain of the leather. Now, if you go to the store and look at any other black leather, you're not going to see that often. I don't see it. Most black leathers are super heavily finished. They're just like painted on. They're basically plastic and paint. You're not going to see any variance in black leather. That's not, you'll see some. They're very rare to see black leather with character. And that's why I like the black Dublin from Horween so much. We get that very fine detail of the grain, but sometimes we get to see these really nice, beautiful striations that are also naturally occurring in the leather. Here's the interior of this Johnny the Fox. It's one of our best sellers right now. I think it's because it's so different. We got the black on the outside with the teal on the inside. I used to call this the mullet wallet. It's like a party on the inside and all business in the back. Stupid, I know. All right, here's another Johnny the Fox. I saw people picking these up. Matt must have been doing some work and stocking some all reverse Shell Cordovan Foxes. Now, this was something that, if I recall correctly, if Matt was here, we could talk about it. I thought we were going to discontinue this because every piece of reverse shell is too random to be able to take a photograph of and then sell it. So my concern is having a photo on the website that doesn't look anything like this, and you order it and it comes up and looks completely different. I think that's a problem. But the result is so nice. So we're in a little bit of a conundrum with the all reverse shell wallets. The reason we were doing these, we wanted to originally show off all the random dye marks, like you can see here, tan on the left, a little bit more green on, tan on the right, and a little bit more green on the left, and show off the Horween ink stamp that you can see there. We've got the same thing on the inside. You can see all the variants of the shell, of the dye splatter. It's pretty awesome, super unique, and you're not going to find two alike. Here's another private stock one that we did. This is horsehide. So it's a little bit thinner, which is actually what I prefer for a wallet. And this is a leather called Latigo, again from Horween. But the color here is called Stone. And you'll notice on the camera, it's like kind of brown. This is about as gray as you can get a nice veg tan leather. It's really, really tough to impart gray dyes, and especially aniline dyes, into veg tan and any heavily oiled leathers. They tend to not be gray looking. So that's why this stone here is really nice. It's about as gray as it gets with a super aniline finish. And that's not to say you couldn't do a better gray than that, but this is about as good as I've seen from my 15 years of working at the tannery. All right, here's another special piece, 100% color 8 Shell Cordovan. And man, it's really nice to see these. I think we just restocked these again. We're having a hard time keeping these in stock. It's tough for us to get the thin pieces of leather that we need for the inside of this wallet. So if you look at all those different layers there, the outside layer is a little thicker, and all these layers on the inside have to be a little thin, especially like closer to like 2 ounces, which is really tough to get that thickness on shells. Every shell is a little bit different. And I think maybe about like 1 or 2% of the shells that we get have like a little section that we could get one card holder out of. So it's pretty tough to be able to make the 100% shell foxes, and I'm still really pleased every time I get to see them. Let's switch back to some accessories and polish, I guess. So we've got our key fob loop in natural Shell Cordovan. Seems like people are really into the key fob loop, and I really like it too. Very simple design. When I was using something like this for about a decade, everything's a decade for me. I used to clip a carabiner through this end and clip it to my pants, and then have my keys hang off the other side. So that was I don't even know who made the one I used to wear, but I always liked it, so we decided to bring it back. We also have our very simple single layer key fob here. This one's in blue Shell Cordovan. It's a little bit darker than the denim, but it's kind of close. And this is 2 pieces of leather. One wraps around the top that holds the split keyring in place, and this is in an antique copper finish for both the keyring and the rivet. We also have a vault key holder in my favorite shell color. Actually, this is natural shell. It's not my favorite. Let's compare that. So natural shell on the right, amaretto on the left. You can see the natural is a little bit lighter. So we do have a few vaults going. I think there were a couple others that were ordered in different colors that we actually have to make today. All right, we also have a key buddy. I use one of these too. I use everything that we make. This is natural Chromexcel, the same leather that's on my watch band. And this is a more recent style that Danae in our shop came up with about a year ago. And I've been wearing it for that long in color 8 shell. Really enjoying mine. I clip this to my belt, and then I hang my keys off the other side. You can also open up the snap here and clip this section around your belt and then hold your keys off the other side. It's sort of like you can use it either way. I just find it easier to get this on and off of my jeans. All right, and we've got some Saphir Cordovan cream going out today. This is the product we use to finish every piece of Shell Cordovan at a wallet that we make. And it has a really nice amount of fill to it, but also lends to a brighter luster because I believe there's a larger wax content in there. Here's one of our last small zips in Shell Cordovan that we have. So we got black shell on the outside with teal on the inside. It's sort of like that mullet Johnny the Fox we just looked at a minute ago. We also have these silky smooth Riri zippers. They're just a joy to slide around. It's kind of addictive to just sit there and do this. Actually, this might be tied for second place for a wallet that I would wear again, by the way. I just found this to be easy to use and holds a lot of stuff and still lays pretty thin. I used one in this color though. This is the English Tan Dublin, and the This is what we try to stock all the time. So English tan on the outside with the black horsehide latigo on the inside. It's all leather. There's no nylon liner. We develop everything we do to try to last forever and not break. But if it does break, we will fix it for you. So you can see it's all leather here. Super difficult to make these. And it does have those expandable gusseted sections on the inside. And those are the sections that I found most useful, where I put most of my cards and cash. But you can sort of hide your less frequently used cards on the card slots on the side. We also have some Tanner's Blend conditioner going out today. Love this product too. My favorite story for this is for one of our customers, actually, Chicago Comb. They asked me for some help to clean up some old antique furniture, and I suggested using the Tanner's Blend. He sent me a before and after picture. It looked like broken. It went from broken to perfect with just one application. So it's really good at restoring dried out looking and feeling leather. I have another watch band here. This is also 20 millimeters for the lug widths here. Tapers down to 18 for the buckle. This is natural Shell Cordovan. I haven't seen these in a bit, so we must have just restocked that also. I have a bunch of belts going out today, which is great for me. I really want everybody to pick up a belt. We got natural Chromexcel for our belt here. This is extra thick Chromexcel. It's super tough to get. It takes, they're not going to like me to broadcast this, but it takes between 6 to 12 months just to get the leather right now. So it's really a long wait. So we are lucky to even have it. So extra thick, 9-10 ounces thick natural Chromexcel. We also have other colors available, including this color 8 here, but you might be able to see behind me, we're kind of low on the navy Chromexcel. We have black and brown as well. So here's the color 8 here. We've done some shell belts. I think we've just shipped out like all the shell belts that we owed people, but we're planning to do another round of shell belts soon-ish, and I'm trying to do that in natural shell. We still need to make one to look at it, or maybe a couple to get photographs of. Got a couple valet trays to look at. English Tan Dublin here. This is that same thickness we talked about that I use for the watch bands. It's like 6 ounces thick. And this is what the flesh side of the leather looks like. We fill that in with a resin coat. Same thing on the Chromexcel here. This is our XL size. This is that resin finish on the flesh side that sort of gives it a cleaner look than being a little bit more suede. It costs more money to do, of course. It's time and material, but I think the result is really good. Here's the grain side of the natural Chromexcel. Huge piece of Chromexcel here on the XL Valet tray. I use one of those in black at home. Here's one in English Tan Dublin that has great character also. And then we've got a couple more wallets. Let's flip these over. I could use some coffee right now. More coffee, please. All right, Bugs Moran. This is natural Shell Cordovan for the Bugs Moran. Great for patina. Always suggest the light colors of Shell Cordovan to develop a great patina. Here's a black Shell Cordovan Bugs Moran. You can see we do the hand-stained edges for both the black shell and the color 8 shell. So here's a vertical Bugs Moran in color 8 shell. You can see we've perfectly matched the color of the color 8 on the edges to the color of the shell. And that's because we're using the same exact dyes and the same exact formulation that Horween uses for all the dyes on the edges. So it gives it a really, really clean look. And the vertical Bugs Moran is a little bit different than our traditional, which has 6 card slots for the vertical and 2 for the traditional. I actually found the traditional to be a little easier to use. Here's the vertical card slot Bugs Moran on the English Tan Dublin. I think this might be one of our regulars. I know we had a couple of regulars of the vertical bugs up on the sale page. I'm not sure if that's one of them. Here's a color number 8 Shell Cordovan Tony the Ant. It's kind of like the Bugs Moran on the inside, but it has a bill slot on the back. It's also extended out. It's a little bit wider to more easily fit cash on the outside. Same beautiful hand-stained edge here. And these all haven't even gone through our finishing yet. So we still need to finish up most of these. Here's an English Tan Dublin Tony the Ant. You can see here. Super nice and clean. And then we've got some big boys, a couple Herbies and some Traveler passport holders. This is a color number 8 Shell Cordovan Fat Herbie. This is the wallet style that I prefer to wear. And I like this, and I like to recommend it to everybody that wears a back pocket or a wallet in their back pocket. And that's because of the unique card layout on the inside. You can load this up with 16, 20 cards, and it will lay flatter than every other wallet because you're spreading out your credit cards over more surface area. So it's less like sitting on a softball and more like sitting on something flat. The other thing about it is the bill slot on the outside It's incredibly easy to use, but also fits all the world's paper currency. So I love the Fat Herbie for that reason. Just easy to use, lays flat. It's the thinnest like full bifold that you can get. And there's one more Herbie here. This is the Royal Blue Cypress, which I've also been wearing a Royal Blue Cypress. So you can get a perfect apples to apples before and after here. You can see the color has developed to become a little bit more dark, but also the luster is much brighter. Super, super bright and shiny as I've worn this guy. It's actually fun for me to look at this. I haven't seen this in a while, but it's really, really changed over the last few months that I've worn it. So we have the Royal Blue Cypress Fat Herbie going out today also, and then our brand new wallet style. This is, I shouldn't say brand new. It's a slight modification on something we used to do that's just better. So this is the Traveler Passport Holder in Englishland, Dublin. You'll see it in the inside. We have this large interior slot. This will fit your passport inside of it. I like to put just one of the pages in the back and have it stick out there, and then all the other pages sit on top. And then we have 2 card slots on the left, and then the bill slot in the back again is great for travel because you can put all the world's paper currency in there. We also have one of those in color 8 going out today. Ooh. Lots of great stuff, and we got more to do. A lot of work, a lot of support that we're very thankful for. So I'm going to come back and see what you guys are chatting about. We got to thank everybody that's picked up stuff, and it's going to be a minute. It's going to be a minute to thank everybody. All right, so if you hear your name here, you picked up something in the last weekend, over the last weekend. And I'm so thankful. I like to call out everybody directly. And you may have also seen your wallet on the table, or your watch strap, or your belt, or your valet tray on the table just now. So thanks so much to Trevor N, Nancy S, Cesar O, Kevin, Liz T, Jeremy M, Valen G, Michael B, Friedrich J, Stephen C, Carolyn T, Noah K, Elizabeth M, Theodore C, James P, Scott M, Scott G, Matthew R, Christopher B, John S, Juan B, Adam G, William C, Carolyn J, Jillian R, Amy B, Megan S, Chris H, Tan T, Kelly W, Julio G, Huang H, Eric B, Minji K, Roy L, Colleen H, Carl H, Nicholas S, Matt T, James W, Caleb M, Dagan M, Joseph H, George H, Troy A, Jesse R, Mary Z, Jacob B, Michael M. We got more pages, but I gotta drink some coffee, guys. How are you doing today? Thanks for being here on the live chat. I'll be seeing what you guys are chatting about in just a sec. Ooh, seems like a lot of people are here hanging out. All right. Ooh, coffee. I've been using my wife's mug for years. She used to be a student and then was employed by Rush University Medical Center. I just like this mug, but I think they made it with Intelligentsia. Man, the beans from Intelligentsia are so expensive right now. All right, that was a good story, right? All right, more people to thank. Thank you so much to Rocky G, Erica D, Donnie C, Randy L, Nick T, Logan G, Joshua V, Caitlin L, Robert E, Maritza B, Joseph T, Carl K, Stephen B, Scott G, Todd M, Noel G, Michael G, Richard A, Jack, Michael F, Stephen S, Frank T, Alfredo O, Guido U, Jesse R, David S, David R, Carlos S, Justin M, Scott E, Brian N, Jared S, Patrick S, Ernesto G, Brian R, Jeffrey S, Tyson J, Alex V, David M, Joe M, Tyler D, James K, Sean P, Joseph H, Keith O, Lawrence L, Sean S, Frank Y, Timothy H. Got a big list. It's been a weekend. Such incredible support. I really appreciate you guys so much. Thanks. We'll continue on. Thank you so much to Shane B, Les M, Andy L, Don D, Theodore P, Christopher K, Stephen O, Kurt Z, John L, Adam W, Pascal F, James F, Tori K, John A, Derek N, Paul H, Noel C, Bradley D, Dale S, Leandro V, Rylan M, Austin P, Jason B, Carl S, Eric M, Joseph N, Peter A, Marvin M, and Adam M. Oh, there's more people. Flynn, Rian K, Wei Chan. Oops, that's your full name. Chutu K, Lucas, Alquan C, Douglas H, Justin V, Sohail Y, Frank, Jacob S, Jeremy M, John C, Iris N, Sarah R, Charles R, and thank you guys so much. Thank you in the chat for allowing me to thank everybody. I think that's the most important thing that I do, and I've said it before when I started doing the live streams more frequently in the mornings. This was a replacement for me handwriting thank you notes to everybody on the packing lists. So I used to do that, and it would take me a couple hours. So I thought it'd be more useful of my time to thank people on videos like this, and then be able to chat with you guys too. I just think it's a little bit more meaningful, and it's actually a time saver for me, so it's a win-win. And my wrist is thankful. All right, Rocco the Razor PRP2. Yeah, I think we're gonna do it. I have to see if I find anything better. I like it though. There is a 316 in Manhattan. I think there's also a store in LA. They have 2 stores, and you can buy their stuff online too. I really like my 316 stuff. Stop in there sometime, man. Tell them Phil from Ashland sent you. You ordered an irregular Johnny the Fox over the weekend. Hopefully it ships out soon. It will ship today, Richard. Doug K says, the whole package of Ashland goodness vibe. Yes, sir. Your color 4-shell belt arrived on Friday. It turned out amazing. I love the heft of it. Yes, that's what I'm been digging about the shell belts. And the reason we started doing it is we felt like every Shell Cordovan belt that has been currently on the market seemed to be very dressy and very formal. So we wanted to lean into what our brand is a little bit more about. And it seems like more people are into boots and jeans these days than wearing slacks and like a suit. So we felt like it would be nice to make a belt that would pair better for boots and jeans. So we wanted thick, we wanted wide. It's got like a little bit more of a tough guy finish to it. It's nice. The shell belts turned out great. Actually, right here we have some irregulars that I think we'll be selling some of the irregular shell belts eventually. And man, we developed that thing for a long time and released them maybe a little late because I was worried about making them better and better and better. I think they were better months ago, and we could have released them earlier, but they're like, we went up that learning curve before we released them, so they're coming out great. I don't want to send stuff that's not great. All right. Hey, Phil, any new podcast episodes? Thank you for asking. Man, Nick and I have been, there were a couple, I'll give you a bunch of excuses. The answer is yes, but we don't know when. I was sick for a few weeks. Nick got sick. His family got sick. We couldn't meet up. And then he's selling it, some property. So he's been busy in, life, right? But he and I talk just about every day. Maybe we should just hit record on the phone and make that the podcast. We do need to get together. We've been trying to do it in person, which seems to be difficult, especially because we both have our own businesses. So he and I need to figure something out. We have plans for how to remedy the lack of content that's coming out, but I can't offer anything right now. We don't make any money from that podcast. We think it's fun to do. In fact, I lose money doing it because I have to buy all the gear and spend all the time. So it's not like, I don't know where I'm going with that. It's not like I do that to make a bunch of money. We do it because we think it's helpful and it's fun to be with my friend. So that's all to say that I told Nick, hey, if you're stressed out with things going on right now, we don't need to do this. We should only do this podcast if it's fun, and it needs to be not stressful. So when the moment's right, we're going to do it again. We have several really prominent guests that want to be on the show. So we will do it. We will do it. And I just don't know when yet. Jake B says, any thoughts on creating a watch strap with a taper? Yeah, we just looked at several watch straps with 2mm tapers. I don't like the ones that go farther than that, but we could do it. I just don't want to right now. I'd actually rather more focus on some NATO straps, which we also do, but we only have 20mm NATOs right now. Jeff D says, I prefer a thicker watch strap. Oh, sorry. Jake said, never mind. Yeah, we have a 2mm watch strap, or 2mm taper on the watch straps. Jeff D says, I prefer a thicker watch strap. I do have 2 of your Apple Watch straps. I wish they were slightly thicker. May MTO. We can do a 2-layer Apple Watch band for you, and we've done them, and they turn out really nice. We actually even experimented with doing some padded straps before to give it like a little bit more of that shape. I don't know if we want to do that yet, but we could do that too. The problem with the padded stuff, like even stuff that exists in the world, moisture can get in there. If it doesn't dry out completely, like if the leather's not breathable, you're going to get mold in your strap. So we have to find with like non-organic padding, like foam, to put in there. And I don't know if I love that idea, but yeah, we can do two-layer strap. If and when you're ready to do that, you can email me. You can email my brother. It'll probably be faster. It's info@ashlandleather.com. Just tell him, hey, I want a 2-layer Apple Watch band. I need it. And I've really like amaretto shell on the top, and I want English tan on the back. Like you can mix and match it. Oh, and by the way, I want orange stitching. So we can do all that for you. There is an upcharge to customize an MTO like that, but for a watch band, it's like $11. So it'd be 10% off the base price of the item is how we charge for the MTO upcharge. Richard says, by the way, wouldn't reverse Shell Cordovan wallets be considered 100% Shell Cordovan wallets as well? Why is the difference in the name? Well, that's a really good question, Richard. And I thought about that a bit because technically it is Shell. However, the two sides to the Cordovan leather, one side is Shell and the other side is the reverse, which technically you do not see the shell. So we thought about that. So like technically you could call it 100% Cordovan, but I don't think calling it Shell Cordovan is necessarily appropriate. It's like a little bit misleading. So we haven't done it for that reason, but that's a pretty keen observation. And I did consider that for a while. I think about these things. It's me, BK says, wow, first time chatting on the live stream. Oh, what's up, BK? Hopefully your name is BK and it's me. You got your natural shell bugs ran this week. You love it. All my friends keep yeah, the Cordovan's got a vibe for a smell. It's pretty funny. And in a workshop like this, you can quickly become nose blind to it and forget about it, which is interesting. Like if I go away on vacation and come back like a week later, I'll notice the smell, but you don't notice it the next day. It's weird how your brain works. But there is something special about that Cordovan smell. So special, in fact, that we've been trying to make a candle scent out of it for like a decade. We could never find somebody to make the scent. And the reason we thought about the candle was J. Crew was making these really nice Shell Cordovan long wings. I think it was Alden making for J. Crew. And this was, again, like about a decade ago. Everything's a decade. The J. Crew selling great amount of perforated long wing tip dress shoes. And they were also selling a candle with the same image of those long wings on it. And it said like Shell Cordovan smell. So we're like, hell yeah, let me buy one. We bought it and it didn't smell anything close to it. So the smell that you're smelling seems to be not reproducible. And I don't know what it is, but it's awesome. So it's all the senses, right? You got the smell, you got the look, the feel. It's like a really special piece of leather that you got there. And the best part about it is it's going to get better the more you wear it. So my word of advice would be beat the snot out of it. Unless you like really want it to look dressy. If you want it to look cool and awesome, just don't worry about it. Don't polish it. Just wear it and love it. And it's going to get better and better. So thanks so much for supporting us, BK. And I'm glad to see you here. Thanks. I'm glad you picked up a live chat. I know it's like literally in the middle of a work day. Oh, thanks, Cabral. Good to see you here. I appreciate you. All the way from Brazil. Love it. BFET says, Natty Chromexcel XL Valet Tray is fire. Yeah, that was a nice looking piece. You have one that handles keys, wallets, change. You know, I like the XL for... I feel like it's a little big for like my entryway, but I feel like it kind of has to be that big just because of the stuff that we put in there. So like here I work on my desk. I use this guy. I use the smaller one because I think this size is like more sensible. But at home, my wife and I use the big guy. But yeah, it works great. It holds all the stuff, tons of stuff. The big XL for a reason, right? It's very large. Good morning, CW. Ron Reyes is here. Good morning. Does leather conditioner like Saphir products prevent or slow the patina on leather? That's a good question. You should consult. I'll plug the podcast again. Check out Full Grain Podcast. We did an episode about patina. And I hadn't thought of it the way that Nick described, but apparently most of what you're seeing in patina is little particles getting embedded into the leather. So yes, adding any product to that leather will expedite the effect of like how the leather looks. So it will look more aged the more stuff that gets imparted into it. I would say, when you put a waxy conditioner or waxy polish, you're going to get a brighter luster, which is also something I tend to see in veg tan leathers. They tend to glow. They tend to get bright. So I would say it introduces more opportunity for patina. Having said that, Ron, honestly, like I sell all these products and I use them, but you don't really need to. Like the stuff's going to last and look good. Just wear it. I think only use it as needed, right? So if your stuff's looking really dried out and sort of feels dried and chapped, like put some Tanner's Blend on there. I think that's a good idea. If it's looking super, super dull and you have not had luck just brushing it or applying a little water and then brushing it, then try to use something like Shell Cordovan Green. Then try to use something like the Venetian Shoe Cream. Try to not use product as much as possible. That's what I would say. Because the leather, especially from Horween, is very carefully tanned and very carefully produced. And they are experts at producing that leather. They've been doing it for over 100 years. The leather that they're sending to you is tanned in a way that is meant to last and meant to look good for a long time. So use what they've already given you that you're paying for. Like that's what you're paying for. You're paying for the material to be good. And by adding, a $15 polish on the top of it or like a $25 polish on top of it, it's like you could do it, but only do it if you need to. Like you already spent so much on the thing. Hopefully that makes sense. It's me, BK says, for irregulars, have you ever thought about specifying what is irregular? Yes. Also, which wallet would you recommend to pair with a slim fitting suit? So with the irregulars, that's a really good question. All of them are for cosmetic reasons. So given that we generate a decent amount of irregulars and then drop them on the site at one time, oftentimes we'll have something like an English Tan Johnny the Fox, and we'll have like 5 irregulars. And I can't necessarily pinpoint on that one product page how each of them will get for the one you get, or each of the irregularities be for the one you get. So they're sort of batched together. When there is something that is like egregious, that is like a very abnormal thing, like this Apple Watch band has an extra stitch, I'll write, this has an extra hole in the stitching along the lug side. But even then, like I'm kind of lazy and we're already giving a deal. So I don't want to do more work and like investigate. It's a lot of work to create product pages on the site and take all the photos and make all the descriptions and keep all that organized. So it's a lot easier and selfish of me to just say like, this is an irregular, But if you message us and it's still available, we will tell you exactly what's wrong with it. And I'll send you a photo of that exact one and we'll chat about it. So we can help that way, but it's best to order it first and then ask, because somebody could snipe it and buy it out from underneath you. But we will help you. I'm just very lazy. And what would I use for slim fitting suit? I really like the Bugs Moran, especially with ones with a hand stained edge. I find to be more refined, a little bit more dressy. It's not like what is a dress wallet? It's kind of like not a thing. If you want a thin black Shell Cordovan bugs were in, something like that, you could prescribe an MTO to be as thin as possible, and we will do that for you. I think the vertical bugs is actually like a little bit more dressy, although it's a little thicker by one piece of leather on each side. So thin. Frank the Enforcer is even thinner. Black Shell Cordovan there, Color 8 Shell Cordovan. I would say those would be good options. I like the bugs. A lot of people like the Frank. Oh, Matt, you didn't miss it. You're still here. Good morning, Alan B. Chris, good to see you. All right, we're getting a lot to do. I'm going to head out here. Matt says, Monday morning streams usually during an absolute evening rush hour for you, so I'm often late. I'm sorry, man, but it's good to see you, Matt. I know you're a podcast guy. I'll plug the podcast for the third time. We are trying to do more episodes, Matt, but we're not, we don't have any ready just yet. I know you're probably one of the people that been waiting for a new episode to drop. Usually we do drop them on Mondays, Sue, so it was appropriate to ask earlier. And Ron, good to see you too. Thanks for the good questions, Ron, and everybody else. I appreciate you guys supporting us so much. It really means a lot. I'm going to try to be back again tomorrow and look at some more leather. Chat with you guys. Thanks again for the great questions. Appreciate you guys, and I hope you have a